Today we're going to talk about why you are losing customers in your home service business. Now, it's not some grand scheme or anything crazy. It comes down to a few simple things. And typically, if you're like most home service business owners, during your slow season, your schedule ends up just getting absolutely demolished, and you don't have anyone really booking jobs at that time. So, it's a simple reason for this. It's just because you're ignoring the easiest way to make more money in your business. I'm going to show you guys today how I was able to fill my calendar with one campaign. Didn't have to run ads, waste my time doing any of the, outreach BS or anything like that. And the fact of the matter is that most of you guys are going to watch this and you're still going to let your leads rot. You're not going to do anything about it, but this SOP is going to show you how to turn those, rotted leads or wasted leads or customers into book jobs within the next 48 hours. So follow along here. If this guy looks like you got an inconsistent schedule, you're a little upset right now. I'm here to help you, and we're going to break that down. So let's talk about how I got here. So my name's Sam. I'm the founder of Nexera. I used to own a pest control business out in Florida, and we basically started it off through door knocking. Now, door knocking was amazing. It worked. We were able to gain about plus or minus 10 new customers a day. However, it was very exhausting and it was very demanding. You have to do it every day. You're talking to people. It's a nonstop kind of grind. So most of my days looked like this. I was stuck out there talking to people, trying to gain new customers, keep the wheels turning, keep my business growing, and keep contracts coming in the door. Now, the only issue with that is that we had bugs and they slowed down in the fall or winter time. So when fall winter came by, all the customers I signed up in spring and summer when there were more bugs, they end up pausing their service. A lot of them still stuck on, but you have your ones that end up canceling or just falling off the route and whatnot. There's a million different reasons. Some people just cancel because the sky was blue today. So these customers that are ending up falling off are hurting the revenue that I think I'm guaranteed to get because I did have a contract with them. So basically what happens is whenever we pull back, typically towards beginning of August or end of September, we didn't have like as much like door knockers out there and running the door knocking team. Our schedule just basically dried up. You can see we were doing like 86, 65, 50 days, 40s, 60s. We're typically staying in between that 50 to 80 range. It looked like mainly like that 50 to 70. However, once we kind of slowed that down, you can see we're down between like 30 to 50 services a day at an average ticket of $130. You can do the math and how much revenue loss that is compared to what we were doing at the beginning of that month. So, some really important to make sure that we're keeping our schedule busy all month because we had high overhead costs with our office, employees, payroll, paying out commissions to sales reps, doing the whole nine. So we couldn't afford to just let our business basically just take a massive dip whenever it came to fall or winter time. So we had to do something else. And basically, as we were going through all this, our stress levels were skyrocketing. Cash, we weren't making as much as we should have. So that was also going down, which obviously caused our stress to go up. So none of this was really sustainable. I would not recommend just going about business this way, just hoping you'll gain more customers all throughout the year, every year, and, relying on somewhat of an outdated method. Not that door-to-door is a bad thing by any means. I enjoyed doing it. I learned a lot, and I got a lot of great experience from it. But it's just not the most sustainable way to grow your business. So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. How can we build a business for sustainable growth? And the key word here is sustainable. Because if you build a business that isn't sustainable, nobody's going to want to buy your business in the future, and you're not even going to enjoy working in your business because you don't have time for yourself or your family or any of the reasons that you originally got into business for. So today we're going to be going over the SOP I've created for dormant customer revival. And basically it just starts here with building a list. So this is step one. What you're going to do is you're going to go into your customer relationship manager or your CRM, and you're going to filter everything out from anybody that hasn't contacted you or has had contact with you in the last 3 to 6 months, or anybody that has canceled their service. So what I like to do is if it's past clients, I like to give them about 6 months before I contact them and put them in this dormant filter. However, if it's an unclosed quote or a ghosted lead, if it's within like the last 3 months, I'm definitely adding them to this list because we haven't even, had the chance to do service with them. So basically all you do is you just tag them dormant. So now that we got our CRM filtered out and we know everybody that is dormant, we are going to craft an offer. So this is step 2. Doesn't have to be a crazy offer or anything, but just make sure that it's personable and that we're not spamming the customer. If we send something that sounds like a little bit too spammy or marketing lingo, they're just going to be like, why is this company bothering me right now? I didn't even want their services to begin with. Like, just leave me alone. So we got to make an irresistible offer to them, and we got to sound very personable when we make this offer if we want, chances of converting this. So what I do is I basically start with, hey there, Sue, Brendan, whatever your name is. It's been a while. Today, we're offering half off our spray service. Anybody that wants to get it done before the end of this week, month, year, however you want to, whatever time restriction you want to put on this offer, you put that there just to create some urgency. So it's very simple. For our service, we were offering a like pest control, obviously. So it was like we were doing sprays, dewebbing, wasp nest removals, bait boxes, you name it, just basically everything, soil treatments, all that. So we were doing a ton of different services, and we were all bundling that into an average ticket of about $130, as I said earlier. So instead of going at them and saying, hey, sign up again for our services this month, it's $130, yada, yada, we're going to say, hey, we're offering a service today for just $65. We'll take care of the spray on the inside, outside, and we'll even apply some baits if you need them before the holidays come up. Typically, we would run these around like the fall time when our schedule really started to dip down. People are going out of town. People are starting to have family come into town for holidays, you name it. So, making sure that there's no pests on their home at this time of year is very important. So whatever your industry is, you want to tailor it to your like season and the services that you offer. So if you offer, heating or AC, you want to offer your heating messaging towards wintertime or fall, AC towards the spring, and kind of like an early bird discount kind of thing. So whatever company you're in, or whatever industry you're in, I should say, you can make this work. And it's very simple. Just the key here is to make it feel casual, not salesy. So you don't want to sound like a sales rep. You don't want to sound like you're pushing something down their throat. And you want to just come off as a trusted expert that's really just there to help them out and offer them with a limited time offer. You don't want to set it too long. I wouldn't let it go for more than a month, really, just because after that there's not really a strong sense of urgency. So it's really important to have a limited time on this, and you can always run another offer, 2-3 months from now, or even 6 months from now if you'd like. So basically from here, what I do is I create a multi-channel outreach campaign. Now I know that sounds like a lot, but it's very, very simple. It's just a bunch of fancy words in there. So basically, after we get this personal SMS sent out to all of our customers that are tagged dormant, what I do is I send an email. So reason I do this is just because in case they didn't get my text or they saw it, but they didn't really go through it, but maybe they go through their email like, just very good. They look through everything and, they're very attentive with their email. Or it might be vice versa. You have customers that look at all their texts, but they never look at an email. So that's why I just hit all these channels, because 1 to 2 days later, if they're still not replying, I want to, take another shot, but I don't want to send them another text or reach out on that same channel I previously did. So what I do is I'll send an email, and then I'll send a deadline reminder to them 72 hours before that deadline ends. So let's say I set it for the end of September. I'm like, hey, anybody that does this, we're doing half off your spray service throughout the end of September. 3 days before the end of September, I'm going to shoot them a text or an email. And I'm basically just going to say, hey, just wanted to give you a quick reminder. There's only 72 hours left to book your appointment. If you do, we're still offering the same deal, $65, get the whole service done inside and out kind of thing. And then this last part is optional. You could really do it wherever you want in your process. If you want to do it right after this personal SMS or right after the email or right around here, the 72 hours before it ends, just give them a call. It doesn't even hurt to do it at each step of this process, just so that way you're staying on top of them, because chances are you're going to call them the first time, they're going to be busy, they're not even going to answer or get back to you. And I wouldn't recommend even leaving a voicemail at this point. I would just just try to give them a call, see if they're available, let them know about the offer you guys are running, and then go from there. Put a task in there, follow back up whenever you want to follow up, or you could just, not do this altogether. But following up with a call, that'll help make it more personable and, actually help get them on the route because you'll have them there on the phone. You could talk to them about their issues, put that in the customer notes. So that way, when you show up, you're prepared to take care of their issue like very, very well, instead of it just being, kind of just like a one size fits all marketing message towards them. So that's step 3. And last but not least, step 4 is just tracking responses. It's very simple. Basically, all you're going to do is you're going to move anybody that's engaged with you that was a dormant lead back into your sales pipeline. So they're either going to be like an appointment booked or in your engaged section. So that way you can, communicate with them in a different way than you would communicate with your dormant leads. And you're just going to keep your unresponsive leads tagged dormant. And what you're going to do is you're going to go back, you're going to resort this list again. So, you're going to take everything from the last 3 to 6 months. As I said before, 3 months for any ghosted or like cold leads, I would say. And 6 months for any like past customers that have just been holding off or haven't been doing service. In 6 months, I would tag them all dormant again. And I would reuse the same list that we just used now. And then I would also add all those new people that I can add to the list. And I would do the same exact thing, rinse and repeat in the next 3 to 6 months. Now, this is going to vary for your business. Maybe you want to do it every 3 months. Maybe you want to do it every 6 months. It all comes down to the quality of responses that you get and how many other marketing messages or how many other communication channels you are reaching out to your customers, because you do not want to bombard them. You don't want them getting mad and feeling like, oh, this company's just spamming me nonstop trying to get my business. It's very unattractive for customers. You want to go back to this main point I made earlier with making it very casual. You don't want to sound salesy. You just want to get your point across of, hey, this is what we got going on. If you want to do it, here's how long you have to do it. So very simple. That's basically, the customer, dormant customer revival SOP in a nutshell. Now, what happens when you do this is you'll have a schedule. It's going to stay full year round. Even in your slow months or your slow season, you're going to stay busy. You don't need to spend any extra ad spend to do this. It's all free. You've already paid for all this stuff. You have less stress because you're not guessing, when's this job going to come in, or are we going to have business to keep our techs busy, or whatever it may be. Old customers are just going to end up rebooking on their terms. You don't have to beg them. There's no awkward follow-ups. You're not trying to shove anything down their throat. And you lock in future work with seasonal service plans before the slow season hits. And I really write before right there because you want to do this maybe a month and a half before. That way you're not in the middle of the slow season really feeling the hurt of not having your schedule completely booked out, because that's not fun for anyone. Obviously, you wouldn't be bringing in as much revenue, and you would just be kind of delaying the effects of the rewards that you can get out of this. So last but not least, self-touch campaign. It feels like service. It doesn't really feel like a sales pitch. It just feels like you're, hey, checking in with you. Kind of like tonality is what you want to have when you are making these messages. You don't want to sound very salesy and saying like, it's our Memorial Day blowout sale, get 30% off. Like, whenever you see that on TV, typically you're not, running down to that business to get your deal unless you are just strictly a price shopper. But a lot of people aren't just price shoppers. A lot of people are just busy or they got other stuff going on and they just don't really want to be bothered. So you got to keep that in mind. You shouldn't be, pitching them or trying to shove something down their throat. As I said a million times already, you just want to make sure that your campaign is very soft touch and it feels like more you're looking out for them and providing a service as opposed to anything else. And, you're just being proactive. You're not being reactive anymore. It's really the simplest way to make more money from the leads you already have. You don't have to spend any more money or do any of ads, marketing, SEO, whatever it may be. You can literally just take advantage of what you've already paid for. So this makes it really nice. Now, if you guys want to steal this same system for your business, you can, very easily set this up yourself. It's not rocket science, but I do understand that, you may not be tech savvy and a lot of this may be a little overwhelming. So you could also book a call with me and I'll set it all up for you. And basically, if you do want to set it up yourself or even just look at all this stuff before you book a call with me, I do have this all written out in a blueprint. It's all mapped out, ready to go. This whole SOP will be included plus 9 others, so there's 10 total. And this applies to both let me delete that line. This applies to both recurring service providers and project-based contractors, so it's in both of the systems that I do offer. just because I realize as home service business owners, we kind of get split up into two different sides. Recurring services and project-based contracting work are two different business models. So I create a system that tailors, you know, our services and the systems that we provide to your needs. So you can see here, they are both basically take advantage of this. There's no like special thing where, this only applies to recurring businesses or only applies to project-based work. This applies to literally any type of home service business. So if you want to, check it out, hit the link in the description. All the info will be down there. And if you got any value out of this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.